Hello and welcome back to the Sports Vehicle Performance YouTube channel. Today we're joined by two Abarth 500s. Both been in with us for big turbo conversions. So I'm going to make a bit of an announcement in this video, and that is going to be we're partnered up with Abarth Racing UK. We're going to be carrying out all of their big turbo conversions to the Abarth 500s. So that consists of a couple of packages. I can't remember the exact specifications from the top of my head without having it in front of me, but at the moment this car's on the 250 package, so obviously that includes a turbo to run up to 250 horsepower. This one's actually got a front mount intercooler fitted. We do actually prefer the side mounts. They're a lot better because they're in a low pressure area, which the car behind has got. However, that one there is running the 300 brake horsepower kit. So we'll pop the bonnet on this one. We'll just show you roughly a bit about, the kit, what it looks like, and yeah, so pop it up. Do it. And you'll see what we're talking about. So this kit's really good because it looks fairly factory. It retains the standard airbox, so we've had this pipe here made up to obviously allow you to keep all of this. Run a couple of blanks in it, and obviously down here you run a small filter. This is a Garrett core. I can't remember exactly the specs, as I said. Same on the other one, both Garrett turbos. And yeah, obviously custom downpipe going into the standard catalyst. So you obviously join them up, weld them together. That means it's perfect for emissions, for MOT purposes. And yeah, this, as I say, is running about 250 horsepower. We have actually got another prototype heat shield in the making at the moment, because this is like the Gen 1 one, and this just kind of protects the coil packs up here. The second one's going to come over the top of the turbo and just protect the top of the bonnet a bit more. Obviously there's quite a bit of work involved in fitting this. Whole front of the car off. There's a flange adapter down there, and that's all lock wired in place to obviously allow the installation of the bigger unit. And yeah, so as I say, this car's got a front mount on it. We'll be taking them both up the road and just kind of comparing the differences shortly. We'll head over to this car now. This car's had quite a bit more work done. So this is the 300 kit. So to the eye, it pretty much looks the same. Again, retaining the standard airbox. However, you notice a couple of other things under here. This one's got the 24 volt fuel pump kit. So that just allows a fuel supply, ups it massively to keep the fuel it needs when you're running that sort of power. We've also done quite a lot of other work to this, shall we say. So we've done a cam bout, water pump. So we've had the whole engine and box out of this. It's the easy way to do it when you've got to do so much, because it's had a clutch, flywheel. So they're like a lightweight flywheel, upgraded competition clutch. It's had a limited slip differential. Can't remember the exact brand on the diff. As I said, timing bout, all the service work done. So pretty much like a new car, and it'll be even more like a new car when you see underneath. So we've had all the powder coated all the subframes, had them all out the car, literally everything new from wheel bearings, discs, big upgrade on the front. So that's the Renault Clio 197-200 Brembo kit with the big discs. The rear's got the caliper spaced out backwards with the disc obviously now being much bigger because it's been spaced backwards. It's got a lot of the DNA tuning parts on, so it's got the coilovers on it, complete coilover conversion on the back. I'll show you more of that as soon as the car's up. But you can see it's looking rather smart underneath, especially these cars now, they've been around a while, they're starting to look a bit tired underneath. Take a look at that subframe over there, that rear beam, sorry, against the wall down there. You'll see what it used to look like, and then come over here and take a look. And you'll just see what a difference it's made under here now. So, I might grab a torch so you can see it a bit better. So we'll start at the front. So whole subframe's obviously been out. New lower arms on it. So these are the tubular type, again the DNA ones. To be honest, they're not the greatest thing on the road because they're not quite as, let's say substantial as a standard arm, but they're okay for a track and stuff like that. It's got, as I say, all the DNA coilovers, drop links. It's had new rack ends and track rod ends, all new bushes. It's got uprated drive shafts, full exhaust system from the catback all the way right down to the back. What else have we done? I think that's mainly it down the front. Coming down the back, we've got, as I say, the exhaust. It's had full braided hoses. We've got coilover conversion on the back here. Obviously a fully powder coated rear beam, much fresher than the old one. You've obviously got your bump stops here to match this. It's also got the rear anti-roll bar, shall we say, even though it's not really an anti-roll bar because it's got a rear beam in it. It's more of a chassis stiffener, shall we say. But yeah, you know, this is what the owner wanted, supplied the parts, and that's what we've done. So it's certainly looking quite tidy under here. And yeah, we'll get them down, we'll take it down the road, and we'll see how they drive and compare the two, 250 to 300. And you know, you can have a look at them. And yeah, if you've got one of these cars, you can see which one may suit you better. So you join me inside the 250 car. So this is, as I say, running 250 horsepower roughly. So we're waiting a final power run on the dyno. We have done a bit more to the underneath this. We didn't really show you because obviously it was on the ground. So I'll just kind of roughly take you through it. So this has had a full exhaust made, which is a single exit at the rear, whereas the other one's obviously a twin. No real differences, just more down to styling than looks. And I think that's 3" as well. So it just helps the flow through the back. Again, retaining the standard catalyst for MOT reasons. And yeah, it's also had spherical bushes or spherical bearings put in the back of the front lower arms. So rather than having that tubular setup, it's still a standard arm, but with a much better bush. So yeah, we're gonna basically just take it for a little drive and just kind of roughly show you what it's like, what the power feels like in the two, how the torque comes in them, and yeah, just give you a rough impression of them. So we're currently just driving down the road near the workshop, and that's what's great about them. Like you don't kind of know what's under the bonnet. Like at the minute, it just feels like a normal Abarth 500. You're just cruising along, nice and quiet, really compliant on the road. And then obviously drop down a gear into the boost and it flies. Like we like to call them a roller skate because they're such small, like nimble cars, don't weigh a lot. And by the time you've got 250, 300 horsepower in them, you know, you're flying. You'll beat most things on the road, especially away from like the traffic lights and stuff like that. Yeah, so we'll drop it down a couple of gears. We're currently in normal mode, so you've got sport and then normal. So the normal is the standard boost pressure, and then the sport mode ups it. I can't again remember. I can try and tell you some more of this factual information later on in the video when I've got it in front of me. Ups it to whatever the optimized boost pressure is for more power. These cars are all mapped as well, so we do a lot of the mapping on the road because we find it to be far more accurate and actually test the real world conditions of the car, especially when you're running side mount intercoolers. They don't work on a dyno. You really struggle with high intake temperatures, which throw everything off. This car has got a front mount, so it would respond a bit better to it, but then we do obviously carry out a power run on the dyno as well. Yeah, so then, you know, just to kind of prove it is making what it's making, and therefore. So we'll come out of this road here and we'll take a right, and we'll do a little pull in normal mode just so you can see what it's like. It's still fairly impressive, but you'll have to wait and see what it's actually like in full power mode, and you'll see the difference. So into second gear, currently doing about 50 mile an hour, 2000 RPM just below. Plant it, takes a bit of a while, but it does get going. And it still pulls strong to about 7,000. So that's just over the national speed limit there. Just at the national speed limit, sorry. So yeah, we'll now drop it down to third and we'll put it in sports mode. So as I say, this ups the boost pressure, and you'll see it's going to be quite hard for you to tell, to be honest, but you might tell. I don't know how it will come across on the camera. So that's second gear, same speed. You can probably hear it, but it really does move quite well, that does. As I say, most things on the road are not going to stand much of a chance against that. And again though, the way the car drives, this is quite a bumpy road, and it's still really compliant. You're not getting torque steer. That's thanks to the arms, having those proper spherical bearings in. This car here is still on the standard dampers, so it is actually really quite compliant on the road. You'll see how that compares to the other Abarth. shortly when we take that one up the road. But yeah, overall, I think this is a great package. Again, I can't remember exactly the cost of it, but I think it's around the £2,000 mark, fully fitted that is. So including the ECU remaps. Obviously I think you can up-spec that kit a bit. Well, I know you can, because you can run the 24-volt fuel pumps amongst some other upgrades. Obviously that's on the 300 kit, but again, we'll cover kind of a bit more of the details on price and the specification later on in the video. So we'll give it one more pull and then we'll take it back and we'll swap over to the other Abarth, the one with 300 horsepower. So again, was second gear, 50 mile an hour, and it was 2,000 RPM, a little bit of lag, but it comes in hard at 3,000 all the way to the limiter, which is about 6.8. So you join me in the other Abarth. This is the 300, the pearl white SSS. So I'm going to take it up the road, see the differences. Just a car coming down here. Straight away though, even just pulling out the estate, you can feel the differences, like with how stiff this is for the road. Over a speed bump there, you're like really, you can really feel it. Which obviously on a track is great, but on the road car, on the road for road use, it's probably not quite as ideal. So yeah, we're currently in the standard mode. Going to take it for a drive, similar to what we did with the last car. See how we get on and just basically compare the differences. Obviously this car has got the big brakes on it, which you can feel already just coming up to here now. They sure have a nice bite to them. A nice bit of boost, still reasonably torquey, just short shift at the moment, up to the speed of the road. This one's got a slightly noisier soundtrack, less silencers in the exhaust, which it does make a nice noise, but as I say, these cars, you see a lot of these Abarths tuned and they're popping and banging, and it's just completely unnecessary. I know some people love that and that's fine, but you know, it's not needed. And when on a car like this, you know, you want it to just jump in the morning, go to work. You don't always want to be listening to pops and bangs, and it just shows it's unnecessary. You can be running 300 horsepower and it'd be nice, compliant, and you know, a complete daily car. And then all you do is you flick that sport mode and you've got a weapon under the bonnet, spooling away. So yeah, that's it. In non-sport mode again, as I already said, you're just pulling along nicely in fifth gear, just on the nice edge of the torque band. So again, it'd be a great car to get on the motorway in. It's just at that sort of speed where you just want to pull out, just overtake a car in the slower or middle lane, and it just picks up nicely and pootles past them. So we'll come up to the end of this junction here and we'll do the same again. We'll do a pull in the non-sport mode and then we'll do a pull in the sport mode. I will say though that it does appear to be a little bit more laggy, but that's completely normal. That's what you'd expect with a bigger turbo. You're always going to get a bit more lag, but obviously things at the top end should be better than the 250 car, so we will see how that shows. It's like there, we're in fifth gear. It is a fairly steep hill, but we've had to come down to fourth because it wouldn't pull up there, but to be honest, that's the same in most things up there. It's quite a steep hill, and to be fair, we were behind a van that wasn't going the speed limit. Engine's up to temperature, so second gear, 20 mile an hour, 2,000 RPM, down. So just building up the boost now. And you can feel it pulling all the way to the red line. So yeah, it's one thing I will say is it's noticeably very stiff, like compared to the car. Like you can feel every bump in the road, but that, you know, that's expected with the damper setup it's got. It's on the coilovers all round, but you really do feel everything. Like, you know, there are options on them to soften them off to a point, but you know, on the track you do want it quite stiff, especially on a nice dry day. You know, you want to be able to hook up the grip and feel the road and the wheels beneath you. But on the road, I've got to admit, it's not as nice of a driving experience as the other car. It's not quite as compliant, but yeah, it does feel like a race car for the road, this one. But as I say, like you don't have to have all this as well. You can have this if you're going to intend to use it on track days and stuff like that. But for road use, personally, I'd recommend to just keep a lot of it standard underneath, and you know, go with either turbo suits either application. You know, you can use a 250 on track, 300 on track, and yeah. So we'll get around this little twisty corner here, and we'll drop it down into sport mode. So again, the same thing applies. The boost pressure is changed between the two. So as I said, the thing you do notice with this is it pulls. It's a little bit more laggy, but it does pull all the way to the red line, which is, I think it revs slightly higher this one. I think it's just over 7,000 this one, whereas the other car I think was about 6.8 looking at it. So second gear, we'll put sport mode on. Right, stop there. So let's see what we can do. It's not the longest straight in the world. So yeah, it's quite impressive. I will say that, like, it does move for a car. You know, you just don't expect to do your Fiat Abarth. Like, you think, oh, you know, there's lots of stereotypes around them, but they really are great cars. They're a really complete package, and you know, as a general, the cars are really nice inside. You've got all the options and comfy seats. This one's actually got the carbon seats in, which are really high spec and quite a rare thing. Pan roof. You know, they're a comfy place to be. This has got all the Alcantara on the steering wheel, and you know, they're a nice place to be. You've got all the creature comforts, you've got the aircon, and you know, everywhere you want to be. And then you've also got 300 brake horsepower under the bonnet in this example. So yeah, we're gonna, yeah, that's it really. Like, we'll go back now to the workshop and we'll run through a couple more of the details about the cars. If I can find more on the pricing, we'll put a bit about there on the pricing, but obviously get in touch if you're interested and you've got one of these cars and you want a bit more power from it. There's lots of options available, anything from 200 to 300, you know, we can push the thing right up to 350 if that's what you'd like. Lots of options underneath them in terms of suspension, and you know, it all depends what you want to get from the car and what you're using the car for. So yeah, we'll take it back now and we'll talk a bit more about that. So you join me at the side of the road. We've got 3 of these Abarths now. This one here, still pretty much on the standard turbo. Well, it is on the standard turbo. I think it's been remapped and stuff though, so that's awaiting in the queue, shall we say. So we've got a bit more information on these two. So the 250 and the 300 car. So basically they both run a Garrett turbo. So the Garrett is a GBC 2300 on this car, which if you look at the specs of the 2300, that will do 170 to 300 horsepower maximum. So this is targeting about 250, so it's sensible in the middle. It's got a 39mm compressor inducer with a 52mm compressor exducer. And these both have been converted to oil cooled. So previously on the standard car, they're oil and water cooled systems. As over on this one here, this has got the GBC 22350, so that's rated 200 horsepower to 350 horsepower, and again we're targeting 300 on this one. So yeah, this one's got the 44mm compressor size, and the inducer, sorry, and the exducer is 56mm. So yeah, slightly different. Let me refer to this note here. It says the compressor and turbine sizes are different, obviously, as I've just read out, but the main frame size is the same. So obviously if you look under the bonnet, they fundamentally look like the same turbo, which is great because it means it's going to fit in the same space that the smaller turbo does. So you know it's going to fit the car effectively. So yeah, that's mainly it. For a bit of information about the turbos we fitted, we have got a standard Abarth over here. I'll quickly pop the bonnet and just show you what it's looking like under there, just so you can see a bit more of a difference between the standard one and the upgraded turbo one. So you can see here, obviously there's your standard turbo, and you've got just a lot more heat shields really. It's actually more compact in the standard engine bay because you have to get rid of quite a lot of stuff. As I say, you dropped all the water cooling into the turbo on this turbo conversion, but obviously it's still retaining this standard airbox, which is a great bit of kit, to be honest. You'll find most cars manufacturers, they put a lot of money in to, you know, developing a standard airbox, and they actually work better than most aftermarket stuff you buy. So yeah, it's a great thing that we can keep the usage of the standard airbox on these cars. So yeah, we're going to wrap this video up here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Make sure to get in touch with us or Abarth Racing UK themselves, and you know, we can go through your car depending on what you want to achieve from it, whether it's track car, race car, road car, weekend car, whatever it can be. We're here to help. We can offer advice on everything from turbo, suspension, anything you want. So yeah, thanks very much for watching the Sports Vehicle Performance channel today. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and we'll see you guys next time.